Classic doorbell.
Hello. Welcome to East London.
Hello.
Sorry I had to bring you to
Shoes off.
Oh, you don't.
How you doing? You alright?
Yeah, welcome to East.
Thank
I know
you.
it's hard for you.
My favourite.
To you, he's a much-loved rapper and producer, famously from London's Ladbroke Grove. He's an advocate for young people and speaks out against injustices here in Britain. He's made music with the likes of Skepta, Dave, and more recently, Nelly Furtado. 2025 will see the release of a new album, his first in 4 years, which is very exciting. I'm looking forward to finding more about. But to me, he's a voice for change, for influence and for good, lifting the lid on the whitewash media portrayal of the issues faced by a dated and dysfunctional system, and in many ways a hope for a better future for generations to come. I'm so pleased that I get to talk to you today. It's AJ Tracey.
How you doing? You good?
Yeah, I'm so happy to see you.
Thanks for having me.
I've like been reading up a lot about you to do this, and I saw that, and I was quite astonished by the fact that you made like a Forbes under 30s rich list. And I was like, he's not making that money in music. How has he done that?
Oh, that's funny. It's so funny.
I remember like visiting people's houses when I first, like I was a decade into my career and being like, obviously my house now is really nice because I was like, what the hell? I haven't made enough money for a house like this. How have you got a house like this? And so I was just wondering, are you good at investments or something?
I'm decent. I'm decent at investments. I'll be honest. So, you know what it is? I think it's where, for me, the way I see music is like when I started making music, when I first started making music, before like I got much attention or anything, there wasn't much money in it. There wasn't too much money. People who had come before me, like rap wise, they hadn't made that much money, even the ones who had performed at such a high level. You know what I'm saying? There just wasn't the money in it. And then when I eventually broke through, it was like at the perfect time. There was a whole load of like a new wave of music, like funding coming in. So like obviously Spotify became a thing, Apple Music became a thing, blah, blah, blah. So there's more money in music now. Like for me, I'm 30 years old, but people who are like 19, 20 who are doing their thing in music now, there's even more money in it now for them.
If you're independent?
I think so, if you're independent. I think that's the key to it. Obviously, big up everyone who has a record deal. It's like different courses for different horses.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Well,
whatever
I came
works.
from that generation.
Yeah, whatever works for whoever. I think some people have more success, you know, having a big team around them and helping them with a little bit of guidance. And some people have more success when they have to like try and, you know, carve out a way through trial and error. And I feel like in the label system, it's harder to make an error because there's people kind of like on you like, yo, we can't afford to make these mistakes.
Whereas we're scared.
We're scared as well.
Take that
but
risk.
you know, we're all scared. Even as an independent artist, I don't want to make a mistake. But if I do, then I'm okay with it. I'll just drop another song next week or something. Do you know what I'm saying? Or maybe not. But
that sounds liberating.
It is. No, it is, honestly. It actually is.
Also, you chose to study criminology. Where did that come from? Have you always been really clever? Or too clever?
You know what? I think it just came from my love of, I love literature and all the, like, for me during education, because I have ADHD, education was just like, I enjoyed being at school, but I didn't enjoy being in class, if that made sense. So I liked what the teacher was saying. I liked learning, but I just, after about 15, 20 minutes, I just turn off. And it's not like, I don't want to turn off. I want to listen. I just didn't have the ability to lock in for more than like 20 minutes. So for me, school was a little bit difficult, but I managed to get some decent grades. I was always clever. I always listen, despite people thinking that I'm not listening. I am always listening.
Yeah.
And
I'm the same because I've got ADHD as well.
So
we
people
always like, you're not present, I'm like, yes, I'm listening
but we're here,
to this.
We're listening.
And 20 other things
Exactly.
at the same
I'm thinking
time.
about what I'm doing tonight and tomorrow. And exactly. But I just always loved literature. And I think like history was one of my favorite subjects. And so was English language, English lit. So I just thought, what can I do? I originally wanted to stay in the sixth form in my secondary school, but they didn't let me because, I don't know, they just didn't like me as a student. I don't know, they just didn't really rock with me, I'll be honest. They just thought I was a nuisance. That my grades were okay, but they just didn't like my behaviour. So
because you were probably, I mean, if you're anything like me, I think ADHD people generally like dance to their own rhythms. So it's like you find it difficult to conform, and then you appear like you're not behaving, but you are. You're just a bit like, how can you justify this rule to me? if it's not affecting anyone's health or anyone's life. Like, so
I find it very
it.
hard to like stay in line and do what everyone exactly. Yeah, conforming is not really my thing. I'll be honest. It's not our thing, is it?
That's why you are who you are and
Likewise.
the way you are.
So yeah. But I just loved English, and I just loved history and learning. So I thought criminology would be a good route for me to go down, because I wanted to be a lawyer initially, and I'm like, forget being a lawyer. Let me just study about like the history of law and like criminology, and I enjoyed it, to be honest.
What do you think led you to wanting to? I think people who are neurodivergent anyway have a strong sense of justice.
I think so.
In my core, that's how all the people I know have.
I believe that.
So it must be that. What do you think it was that made you think criminology or being a lawyer initially? Obviously, you changed your mind, but
I just thought that two things. I thought, one, I love arguing. I just love arguing, and my mom and my missus always tell me like how much they hate that I love arguing, but I love it. And not in a negative way. I just like arguing a point.
But it's stimulating.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I love the mental stimulation of it. So I love arguing, but then on the other side also, I love just the correct outcome being, you know, like going forward. Like, so for example, I love if someone does something wrong, I hate it when someone gets away with doing something a bit like underhand, you know what I'm saying? And then someone who was like being nice, like gets off with a short straw. I hate that. Like, I really dislike that, you know what I'm saying? So I just thought if I was a lawyer, I could just go in and use my arguing skills to kind of just be a superhero. Do you know what I'm saying?
Would you say you're quite political? Do you go on do you have your own ways to be an activist, or do you go on marches, or do you what kind of things?
Well, I go on the Grenfell march when I'm here. If I'm here, I go there.
Yeah.
Obviously, I'm from Ladbroke Grove, so like that's just something I have to do. My mum goes every time, even if I'm not there. My mum will be there. It's a duty. Yeah, it's a duty, definitely. Yeah. But in terms of being political, I think everyone's political. I think people try to distance themselves from politics, but politics is in everything.
Well, even apathy's a choice.
Yeah, exactly. And for me, it's like I love football, so I'm heavily into like, you know, I'm a match day goer, you know, away goer with Tottenham. I love Tottenham, so I'm always over there. But I see a lot of people saying, leave politics out of football. You can't. How can you leave politics out of football? Football, like, politics is entwined in everything, in my opinion. So when people try to say like, oh, I don't want to talk about that, I don't want to talk about this, you know, it's like, well, you might not want to yourself, but someone might need you to speak about that. Do you know what I'm saying?
So how do you think that politics and football are like connected?
First of all, I'm going to start by saying, that there's a problem in the UK right now, which is that some people think that it's like different races against each other, but that's not actually what it is. It's actually
a class war.
It is actually a class war.
I know. I'm there with you, don't even.
And it's also a thing where like, I can see that, you know, racism exists. It's a thing that exists, but it's not always at the forefront. Sometimes there's other issues. The problem is as well, is as a black person, I do say to people that like, if you make things a race issue that aren't a race issue, then when things are actually a race issue, people are less inclined to listen, which I really hate, because it takes away from how serious it is when it is a race issue. So
I'm with you 100%.
That's important. That's important. So then I'll just quickly go back and say, so with football, the most blatant one is, you know, like if people say things like, oh, you know, they don't deserve to earn a certain amount of money, and I can understand that point of view. My mum always used to say to me growing up, I don't understand why a footballer will get, you know, a couple of $100K a week and a nurse gets barely anything. Yeah, I completely agree with that. But also, it comes down to a thing where footballers get paid based on, you know, how popular their entertainment is. You know, if people are going to the stadiums and investing and spending all their money, there's money for the players to have those wages. And I'm not saying it's correct or wrong, but that's just what it is. And I think people need to like divert their focus and be looking at like, okay, so why isn't the government paying nurses
enough
more? Why aren't the government's paying nurses more? Because that's their job to pay the nurses more. Yeah. You can't like take it out on a football and say, oh, because you get so much money. You know, it's about taking a step back and being like, instead of me blaming the face of something, let's look at what the root cause is behind it and try and tackle that. Do you know what I'm saying?
100%. So I think it's about what you're saying is what I 100% believe about systemic problems, which is what I was saying in the intro, is like they're so ingrained and also used by media, by politicians and people with power to deflect from their actual causes, like the stuff they're doing, so that we have like intercultural fighting.
It's easier if we fight down here, and then they can kick on with what they're doing over there. Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Talk to me about something mad. And do you think that's angry, or do you think it's crazy?
Do I think mad is angry or crazy? I think sometimes they cross over and they blend, they mix and blend, I think. But I was going to say something that makes me mad is I believe once you have a platform, I think that it's not, I don't think it like, try and follow me here, I always say this to people. So if someone says to me, oh, AJ, I like the way you spoke up about Palestine, for example, I'll say like, yeah, I appreciate that, whatever. And then if someone says, I feel like people like you, if you have a platform, you should be using it to speak out.
Yeah.
Now the thing is, I agree that we should be forwarding agendas that matter to us. I do think that's important, but I also don't think that the role models of society should be like the rappers, the sports players, etc., etc. I just think that they have that platform because they're good at music. They're good at exactly.
It's a choice.
It's a choice. Exactly, it's a choice, and a choice that I hope majority of people choose to make. That's a choice I hope they make. But also, I don't feel like it's right to be annoyed at someone for not making that choice. That's also an opinion I have, and I think that at the end of the day, if someone's made their platform, they've carved it out. You don't know how many years of work went into them getting to the point that they're at. If they don't want to use it for that reason, I might not agree with it, but also it's not up to me because it's not my platform.
Do you ever get annoyed when people or journalists or people like me come and ask you to be the spokesperson for a certain set of people or whatever? Do you get like, oh, why is it always me? And it's because you've chosen at times to show willing to do that, but some days you might not want to talk about that.
I'm never annoyed at someone asking me to do that. I might not want to do it, but I'm never like annoyed at someone asking me that because it's for good reason, And we need spokespeople and we need allies and we need people who are going to fight for us. So if there's far and few between and someone's standing out saying I will speak for people, then it only makes sense that they're going to go and ask that person, would you also be a spokesperson? Like, I get that. That makes sense. But sometimes I'm a human and sometimes I'm having a rough day, rough week. There's other things on my plate and I just might not have the mental capacity to speak about every topic, So I kind of pick and choose just things that are close to me and things that I feel like I can have an impact on. So for example, like I just believe that as someone who, some, not everyone, but I'm sure some young people think I'm cool. So if you think I'm cool, I'm going to try and make issues that seem uncool, a bit cooler. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So when I say on my story, like, okay, cool, there's been a ceasefire, I'm happy for the ceasefire, or like, free Palestine, whatever. But when I put these things on my story, I'm not doing it for like, some PR reason. In fact, it's probably negative PR in terms of branding. I'm sure a lot of brands don't want to touch me with a barge pole. Exactly.
From experience.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. So it's not for any of those reasons. No. I just do it because I feel like I should speak about it, but I just don't like when people tell me that I have to. Do you know what I'm saying? It should just be a choice of someone's like, okay, cool, they want to speak about that, then they do. Because I can't touch on every topic, but
I just think that there aren't enough people or as many people doing it today as there was maybe if you look at like music in the 60s and you think about
for sure.
People back then were basically the spokespeople for politics.
Definitely.
And we're kind of just coming out of a phase where all it's been is political apathy in music and art. And now people are starting to say, oh, actually, I want to say some stuff about this, and this. And actually, that's quite a positive thing, I think.
No, it is. It definitely is.
But I agree with you. It's not anyone's responsibility. How's that maddening, though?
I think that's maddening because for me, like, I don't like the interactions of people saying, oh, AJ, you should speak about this. You know what I'm saying? That does actually madden me.
The pressure.
The pressure because it's like, you don't know what else I have. If you've not taken the time to do your research and go and see, obviously not you, I'm saying people in general, but if you've not taken the time to go and see the good that I do actually do and the things that I do speak about, if you're not privy to that, for you to come and say to me that I should be speaking about this thing over here, you don't know what I could already be speaking about that. I might already have something in motion to be trying to tackle that and aid that cause. So that is maddening for me because I just feel like sometimes I'm only human just like everyone else. Like I'm not any better than them.
You've only got a certain capacity.
Yeah, literally. And especially with ADHD, your like ability to process things and make decisions, like decision making, it runs out. Like you have a tank. Eventually at the end of the day, I get to a point, I don't know about you, but I get to a point where it's like, someone will say, what do you want for dinner? And whatever, I don't know at this point. I can't be bothered to make a decision. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you get burnt out.
Exactly. So
what about how do you deal with anger, like as a thing? Like forget this because this is like a sort of speculative thing. Yeah. But like if you ever feel anger, do you think you're good at it? How do you channel it?
I think when I was younger, I wasn't as good at controlling my anger. I've never been like a violent person, but I just do get upset though. I just get upset, and I just need my space when I get upset.
What do you do, sulk?
Yeah, I used to sulk. No, I used to, honestly. No, I did. I definitely used to sulk, but it would be a sulk of like feeling sorry for myself, and I'll just go and like try harder. It was a good kind of sulk. It's like I'll sulk and I'm upset about this stuff, so let me work harder in the gym, or let me go to the studio, or let me, it's productive sulking, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it turns into something.
Exactly. But now I'll be honest, with like having a public profile, I have like a duty to set an example. So I don't, in public, you rarely see me get mad. It's going to take something like really crazy to get me angry in public, because I just would rather not get angry in public and go home and be angry, or be angry in private, because I just don't want to like let anyone down.
Have
honestly.
a headline.
Yeah, have a headline as well. It's like, you know, if someone
comes... Do you
comes...
feel a responsibility to set a certain example because you're in the
a little bit. Yeah, a little bit, of course.
And what group do you feel you're representing and trying to steer away from?
Honestly, 3 groups. The 3 groups are like black or people of colour, and then rappers also, actually, because not all rappers are like what people think rappers are. What people think rappers are, we're not all like that, you know what I'm saying? So I'm trying to like represent for the chilled rappers, the rappers that are like normal people, do you know what I'm saying? That's not everyone, but that's definitely a few people. Peaceful rappers, exactly. And then males as well, actually, males, honestly. I don't want like, I see a lot of toxic masculinity being promoted online, and I don't want to be part of that group, do you know what I'm saying? I don't want to ever be looked at as like, oh, he's one of these guys that just, you say the smallest thing to him, he's going to lose his head. Like, I'm not like that at all, do you know what I'm saying? So yeah, if someone annoys me in public, usually it's a deep sigh and I walk away. Usually, 99%
Do you think you're
of the time.
quite a personable person, like quite chill, but then you get more angry about things that are more distant from you?
Yeah, to be honest, yeah.
That's what's coming across.
Yeah, do you know, like if someone wants to call me a rude name or something, I don't really care about that. I get that regularly in my DMs or under pictures or whatever. I get that all the time. But if someone says something about like my missus, my mom, or like, I don't like when people like hurt animals. I know that's random, but like, I don't like that kind of stuff.
It's not random.
But that stuff, you see all of that stuff, I don't like any of that. But when it's me, I can like, I'm 6'3", I'll fight for myself. I'm all right, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Just leave them alone. Like me, it's all right, but just leave my people alone.
That's funny. It's like, I remember, so when I was younger, I became my sister's legal guardian when I was 26 and she was 16. And it was because we've got different mums, but like, so our dad was kind of out of order to me most of my life, and then until he did something to her, did I step up to him. So it's the same thing. It's like, if it was to me, it was fine, and then as soon as it reflected badly on her, I was like, right, I'm taking her
that's
in.
enough. Yeah, that's enough.
And that's it.
I'm exactly like that. Yeah,
changed.
We can deal with it for ourselves. Yeah, but when it's someone that we care about, it's not. Yeah, it's too far. Exactly.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
So what's something that's made you feel sad?
Something that made me feel sad. I'll tell you the most recent one. I could list, unfortunately, this topic, I could list a million things, but I'll tell you the most recent one. The most recent one was for Christmas, I had my mum, my younger brother at my house, and then my missus had her family at the house as well. And it's the first time that my mum's met her parents. But Boxing Day at like 7 a.m, I had to leave to go on tour in Australia. And the thing is, again, obviously, I'm very privileged to be able to go on tour. Like, I love it. I'm grateful. But also, it's just something about, I was leaving my whole family. I was just looking at them in the doorway and I was like, yeah, I gotta go. Like, I didn't even get to spend like the next day with them, you know what I'm saying? And I don't get to spend much time with like family in terms of downtime.
Do you feel like you're naturally inclined to take work when it comes, irrespective of the sacrifice? Like, because of your background or whatever, do you think, oh, I can't say, because I always have this overriding feeling like I'm privileged to be able to do this, so I could never say no, or I could never say, you know, like diminish the privilege of being able to have that opportunity.
Exactly. I think you know that's nailed on the head pretty much. I do feel like sometimes me saying no to such an opportunity feels a bit selfish, even though I know that it's not. Like, as a 30-year-old, I understand now that life, it's important to enjoy your life and have a balance, a work-life balance. But unfortunately, just from being, you know, how I grew up, and just, I sometimes feel like me saying no to certain opportunities is selfish. And I know that it's not, but sometimes it just feels like that still.
Or that someone else would come and slip in and take the
for me, it's less about that. I don't mind. I would be happy if someone, in fact, it'd be easier for me if someone was able to take that one, because then I could have stayed home with my family. Do you know what I'm saying? But also, I did feel like an obligation for the fans. Like, I don't want to let fans down, especially in Australia. Like, if you're 22, 24 hours away and you know my lyrics and you're buying my music and supporting me, then I should also be able to like sacrifice a couple of days for you lot. I do feel like that. Do you know what I'm saying? But sometimes it just feels like my whole family's here for once. I haven't had them here for ever, all together, and I just have to leave at 7 a.m. So I just got kind of like 1-2 days.
The duty. How do you think your mum sacrificed things when it came to work, making ends meet?
She sacrificed everything, to be fair. She just like...
So that's what you saw, and then you're like, I've got to.
It's pretty much, to be honest. Like, she sacrificed everything. She was working herself to the bone, literally, just to make sure that me and my little brother was all right. So that's where I learned it from, to be honest. She set the example. And it's a good example, and obviously it can also be detrimental. It's not her fault though. The detrimental side of it isn't her fault. She was a single parent. She has to work at the end of the day. She has to make ends meet. Our school uniform was expensive, etc., etc., etc. So it's a good example because it taught me that I need to work for, you know, if I want to have nice things and I want to enjoy life and I want to bring nice experiences to me and my loved ones. If I want to have a girlfriend, it's not cheap. Then you need to.
It's an expensive girlfriend.
It's expensive having humans alongside for the journey, is what I will say. She's not a particularly expensive person, but you know, even a dog's expensive. Everything's expensive, especially in this climate. So if I want to be able to, you know, give her what she deserves, which is nice days out, and you know, be able to create experiences together, then it costs money. Do you know what I'm saying? And if I want that, I got to work hard. And I think it's rewarding when you work hard and you get to see the fruit of your labor. But unfortunately, sometimes you get into like a toxic work cycle where you're like, no, work comes first. I got to work. I have to go work, blah, blah, blah. And I'm a victim of that sometimes, I'll be honest.
I am.
Yeah.
But I think it's terrible that I've got it. And all my family are like, you're an addict, you're a workaholic.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you feel proud of being a Londoner?
Yeah, I do actually. I love being a Londoner, honestly.
Me too.
I do. I love being a Londoner.
When you were coming on, I was like, yeah!
I love that, yeah. No, I love being a Londoner, man. I think we're the best in the world, actually. I do honestly think that.
Some of the things we were talking about before about the class war thing, I think what makes London very different to most major cities that I've visited is that we have always lived side by side. So rich and poor, same street.
Yeah.
So like it might be, I don't know, in my street growing up in Hackney, like 50% of the street was council, 50% was bought. It was all mixed. And I don't know whether you think, like, my observation of that is that, like, other major cities have different experiences interracially as well as in, like, interclass.
For sure. I think the problem is nowadays with the UK is that, like, the things that people used to love about the UK are slowly evaporating. They don't exist anymore. So
what kind of things?
Well, going down the pub and having a pint, that's British culture. That's a UK staple. But when a pint is so expensive now, it's like you're already trying to make ends meet at home, and then you don't have time for extracurricular pints. You know, it's just not. Yeah. It's not a thing you can do anymore. But before, it was cheap enough that you could go and enjoy yourself. Everyone can meet up at the pub, see loads of different faces, colours, races, and everyone's having a pint. You know, but you can't do it as much.
Or talking about their differences is the main thing. Exactly. I feel like conversations gone because everyone's so separated by money.
And once we're separated by money, it's like all the different things where working class people would meet each other and mingle.
We can't resolve.
You can't do them. All the little niceties that we used to have are kind of evaporating. And even for young people, youth clubs, there's barely any youth clubs. Like, I don't know where the youth clubs are. They're just gone, you know. The parks are dangerous now. So it's not like kids don't want to. If I had a kid right now, I wouldn't be letting them play at certain parks, you know. Like, but when I was a kid, I was out all the time. It was fine. My mom was like, yeah, just be back on time. Enjoy yourself, you know. I didn't even have a mobile phone. It feels a bit different now, do you know what I'm saying? And then with all the political agendas that all pushing, like, you know, we want everyone to separate and be against each other. And it feels like it's working, to be honest with you, because the country feels like a bit dark right now, no?
Yeah.
I kind of feel like it is in a dark place. And it's only when I go to, like, I'm from Trinidad. I haven't been there for a minute, but when I'm over there, everyone is really happy with just, like, they don't really have too much, but they're just happy with community vibes and helping each other out. And I feel like the UK used to feel like that when I was younger, and it just doesn't feel like that anymore. Obviously, I'm going to caveat that by saying,
sad.
I'm going to throw in quickly, obviously, every time I do talks like this, it's easy for people to point out and say, oh, well, you guys sitting here on the sofa, you lot make a lot of money now. So, but it's not about that, you know, that's not the point.
But even just that idea is also, like, if we weren't doing it, then nothing would ever change.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, for me as well, it's like, when you're a musician, I can't speak for every musician, of course, but like for me personally, I love music so much that I'm just happy to be able to do this job. Me getting paid for doing what I love is a dream for me, do you know what I'm saying? And I'm grateful every single day. It's never something I take for granted. Like, I'm not just like, yeah, I'm a rapper, I can just do whatever I want. It's never like that. Like, I'm grateful for every day that I still have in music, you know what I'm saying?
I also feel like as well, though, that music industry is still to this day full to the brim of people who come from privilege. So if you're somebody who doesn't, and you've got this platform, you've got a voice, then it is actually brilliant to be able to come and have these conversations and go, the way I got here was not because mummy or daddy gave some money or knew someone who worked in the offices. It was literally because of your talent and in your case, like the community projects, the studios that were available through the youth clubs, all of that, which is, if it's going, then what happens to music? Do we only hear the voices of privilege?
Yes, it's sad, and it's sad because where's the next, like, AJ Tracey from in Ladbroke Grove? Because if they don't have access to a studio, how are they going to nurture their talent? You know what I'm saying?
This is a good moment to bring Zuriel on, I think.
An extra special guest?
Yeah, I've got a special guest.
Okay.
I've got my goddaughter here.
Lovely.
It's called Zuriel. And she is, just to give you a little intro for her.
Yeah.
So Zuriel, just to contextualise, was in state school, and then her mum, who's one of my good friends, also in my band, decided to take her out of state education and homeschool her because she felt that the system was not... like it was so stretched that it wasn't able to give her the attention to like harness her particular like fortes and stuff, and like pull out of her own talent and her bubbliness, and she could see her shrinking. And she also felt as well that like at times when dealing with like race issues and stuff in state education, she felt let down by the way those things were handled.
That's a shame.
So she has taken her out. She's now homeschooled. Today we're calling this a media lesson.
Okay. Good media lesson.
Yeah, she's going to come and...
Not a bad media lesson.
Do a little mini interview with you. So Zuriel, do you want to come and sit down? Okay, so this is Zuriel.
Nice to meet you.
AJ.
Nice to meet you too.
How you doing?
How old are you, Zuriel?
I'm good. I'm 9 years old. Well, 9.5.
Okay,
Yeah,
9.5.
which is very
Important. The half's important.
Yes.
And do you love being homeschooled?
Yes.
She's an advocate for it. And
Sick.
you've got a few questions for your media lesson for AJ.
Yeah.
Go on.
I've got a few questions. The first question is, how would you say someone like me can get started with music?
How would I say someone like you can get started with music? Let's see. 9.5, that's an important age. I think I started writing lyrics a little bit younger than you, but I wasn't ready yet. I had to practice, you know? But what opened the door for me was the local youth clubs in my area. Do you have youth clubs around here?
No, to be honest.
Not really?
I don't know.
Well, that's a shame, and that's what we were talking about.
Problem,
exactly,
yeah.
It's part of the problem, because me going to the youth club, there were kids in there doing music, and everyone, you know, singers, rappers, like all different sorts. And I got to just try my lyrics in there and learn how to use a studio, which was my first kind of taste of music.
My second question is, do you think music has the power to help my generation, and how?
Yeah, definitely.
She came up with these herself.
Are these all your questions,
questions.
yeah? Really good questions, really good questions. I think it definitely does. Music is very powerful. And I think music is a place that you can communicate with everyone on one level. I think it brings people together. And I think it's a place that we can share our experiences and try to teach and help each other. So I always think that music's one of the best places to do that, because it, you know, if you perform in a stadium full of people and you're all sharing one moment of like love and happiness, it's like a great, you know, it amplifies it. It's a great place to share emotion and messages. So I would say yes, for sure.
Okay. My third question is, I'm only 9. What can I do to make a difference at my age?
You're only 9. What can you do? There's so many things you can do to make a difference at 9. First of all, you can behave for mummy, because that's going to make everyone's life easier, I'll be honest with you. Yeah, that's very important. I think that's maybe the most important thing, because your mum's making sure that your life's in order, you know what I'm saying? So you can help her by behaving. That's important. Getting your work done, that's also very important, because we want to finish homeschooling with a nice education, you know what I'm saying?
Make it look like it was a good idea.
Yeah, definitely,
after all the effort everyone put in.
Yeah, make it pay off, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Another thing you can do is you can recycle. That's very helpful for the environment. It's helpful for the animals. Just make sure that you put your rubbish away. I'm sure you do anyway. I don't need to tell you that, but just make sure you remember, yeah? There's loads of things you can do. Help other people if they need help. It can be as easy as helping mummy with the shopping, helping godmummy with the shopping, helping with the interviews, whatever you can do, you know what I'm saying? But just always be on the lookout for things that can be helpful. It's important.
Do you want to make a difference?
Yeah.
How?
Like supporting people. Like people that are really good at stuff, but they don't get like enough like money or like attention. Because there's some people that I know that have really good talents, but nobody wants to give them any like attention or credit or something, just because of who they are.
Well, thank you for sharing that with us.
And the questions are really good. We appreciate them. Thank you.
Yeah,
thank you. So my last section is about bad.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, I'm aware that this word is open to interpretation.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how good it is for anyone to be called bad. But have you ever... What's bad, basically?
Bad?
Have you done anything bad?
I've probably been bad in all senses of the word, to be honest. So we'll start with that.
Any you regret?
Any regrets? Not really. I'll be honest. I don't really regret much. I don't know. I think that's maybe my superpower. I don't really regret much. I do things like with both feet. You know what I'm saying? Like I jump into things and I'm like, I wanted to do this. Whatever it is, I'm like,
you
I want to do this.
You forgive yourself for things.
Yeah, because I find it easy to forgive myself. I find it hard to forgive other people, actually.
Yeah.
So I hate delegating because when I delegate and then someone makes a mistake on my behalf, I find it really hard to like forgive them for doing that to me. Whereas if I do that to myself, it's fine. It's like, I made that choice. I have to live with the results. It's fine. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So being bad, let's see. What examples can I give you? I'll give you a traditional one in the sense of the word. I guess like getting nicked is being bad. You know what I'm saying? When I was younger, I got nicked a couple times.
But did you get nicked for your... Did you do something to get nicked?
I mean, usually you have to do something to get nicked, to be fair. I'm not going to take any blame away from myself. But it wasn't anything crazy. It was like... stolen mopeds. No, I didn't steal them. I was on a stolen moped, etc., etc. It was never things that hurt people. Growing up, I never done anything to hurt people.
Just little
it's just
naughty
being naughty,
stuff.
But like obviously naughty to me and naughty to the police is two different things. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah,
unfortunately,
but at school,
it's not legal to always be naughty.
everyone thought mopeds were toys, didn't they?
Yeah, exactly.
It was like stealing someone's toy.
Exactly.
Not like,
but you know what it is? It's just like it's just a thing. It's just
mine.
in the estates, you know, in the culture. It's just like someone came out to me.
I've been on a stolen moped.
Yeah, it's not, you know,
it's just part of growing up in
See,
London.
we would say, we would say that.
I just didn't get nicked for it.
See, we would say that. But then obviously, if you got a policeman sit on a podcast, they'd say like, no, that's not normal. Don't be driving around stolen beds.
I remember when I first got my car, I was like, I think I was 17, 18, because neither of my parents can drive. So it was a big thing. They were like, we'll just invest in you driving.
Yeah, straight. Makes sense.
And then I took my car to Halfords, like the car thing, to get a new stereo because it wasn't working properly. And he pulled out the stereo and he was like, all the wires in the back. He was like, who fit this for you? I was like,
who did fit it?
Just someone at school got me one for like £20. Don't know where it came from.
Fair enough. Yeah, fair enough. It gets like
that. It was all held together with like sticky tape. And all the, and he was like, "This is just some amateurs."
Some botch job.
Yeah. But it's that thing. So yeah, there's bad and there's bad.
Yeah.
So you would say that you don't think you've done anything that was particularly awful to anyone?
I don't think I've done anything particularly awful to anyone. I'm sure there's people out there that will probably disagree and say that I've done something awful.
Yeah.
I mean, look, I could sit here and list things that I think people would say are bad. For example, when I was younger, I'm sure there are like girls that might have been a love interest that they thought it would be more serious than it was and it wasn't. I'm sure I've done that before.
Yeah.
In music, I suppose like being bad is like not dropping. I barely drop music. So I guess that could be considered bad, I guess.
So you feel bad about not putting music out, but you've got something coming out soon, haven't you?
I do. I have an album coming this year. Woo! I have loads of new singles coming this year. I've got some festivals, and then am I allowed to say that? Yeah, there might be a cheeky tour on the way.
Exciting!
Yeah, exactly.
So everything,
literally everything, back in action. You get me? My Lecky money's done, so if you could please buy that album, that would be great. Safe.
But what about being branded like a naughty kid, and also like there's this thing of like being stereotyped as a young black male, 6'3", and like, you know, the idea of like the police, they kind of, I know in London particularly, like they might earmark people or like go, or let's get someone for a random lineup where they've got an alibi, just constantly
someone matching my exact description is always on the lineup on the radio. My exact description. They look at me and say, someone wearing what you got there? What socks you got on? Yeah, those socks. Someone wearing those socks has been seen. I'm like, yeah, sweet.
So what do you think about this racial profiling and like branding someone bad? How do you, if you're being branded as bad or expected to be bad, not become bad?
I think, look.
Because that's really difficult.
All right, cool. I'm going to start with the profiling thing. I'm going to say that. To be completely honest with you, I don't get profiled that much. I'll be honest. Like, I'm more of a victim of the silent racism than the obvious one. Like, it's less often that someone says to me, calls me the N-word, or that I don't get anything like that, I'll be honest. And I'm not a rude person. I don't want confrontation. When they're looking for a reason to be angry, I don't ever give them a reason. And it's something that my dad taught me. My dad basically said, look, like, you're black, your consequences are going to be like ×2 for anything. So you need to work twice as hard just to be regular. So I took that in. I digested that. So when I was younger, I was profiled a lot more than now, I'll be honest with you. Like, as a grown man, I'm 30 years old. At the end of the day, I would say to a police officer, bro, I'm 30 years old. What do you think I'm doing out here? Like, what do you think I'm doing? I'm loitering around causing trouble? Of course not. I have places to be, bro. I've got responsibilities. You know what I'm saying? But when I was younger, I was loitering around, to be fair. I was just trying to make money, to be honest with you. That's it. And
what is it about trying to make money fast that some people have that idea, like in their head, they want to get quick buck?
Yeah.
Why is it that some people feel like that?
I think for a lot of us, growing up how we grew up, I think it was a thing where like we see our parents struggling with the bills, etc. Same stuff. Every house I go to, we're all living in the same environment. So it's all of us wanting to just like change our parents' lives, not necessarily like put them in a mansion instantly, but just be able to like let them have some money to play with, you know, not putting like hand to mouth, like actually being able to spend some money on some stuff. And
have you been able to do that for your mum?
Yeah, 100%. My mum, like, thank God, like through music and whatnot, I got my mum a house. Like she doesn't want for anything. She's happy, and she still lives like almost the same way we used to live. She doesn't want to spend any money. She doesn't like me spending money. Won't ask me for anything. I'm not joking. She'll like save up. Like my mum, bless her. Yeah, I give her like a little bit of money to get her hair done and stuff every month. Yeah, and she'll like. I asked her the other day. Like she has a personal trainer and she works really hard in the gym. But she said to me, I was like, oh, how comes you ain't done your, I can't remember, like her nails or something, she wanted them done. She didn't do them. And I was like, why haven't you done them? And she gave me a funny kind of cheeky look. And I'm like, what's wrong with you? And she's like, oh, well, basically I used the money for the hair stuff for my personal trainer. Like, I was like, Mum, you don't have to make ends meet with the funds I'm giving you. Just say you want to, like, your nails done, I'll just pay for it. Do you know what I'm saying? We're not living like that anymore. Thank God. Like, for me, my mum's one of my main priorities in my whole life. Like, anything she wants, I'll just pattern it. Do you know what I'm saying?
She sounds amazing.
My mum's my favourite person.
I remember I found out quite early on in my career, I think, not that early, but like I had 1 or 2 albums out. And then my mum, I found out after ages that my mum was, the reason why she was at my gigs was not, she wasn't on the guest list. She was buying tickets.
What a legend. No, what a legend. What a legend. Like, such
Mum,
a legend.
What the hell? I thought
it's nice though. That's so nice though, no?
I was like, Mum, we're fine. Like,
yeah, you ain't got to do that.
Yeah.
But I appreciate the sentiment.
But she was
I definitely appreciate it.
You're trying to make money. I'm not going to exploit that. And I was like, Mum, you gave
I wish everyone was like
that.
I wish everyone was like that, honestly. I like that some of my brethren will come and be like, yo, bro, I bought your merch, by the way. Like, I bought a CD. Like, I love that. You don't have to. I would have sent it to you. Yeah. But I appreciate that you did that. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? It means a lot to me.
It's humbling.
Yeah, it is humbling. It is. Big up Mum, though, man. I love that Mum bought tickets.
Yeah, I know. She keeps doing it.
What a legend.
Quite often, in my experience, bad things or bad things I've done or bad things that have happened to me have led to good.
Yeah, sure. 100%.
So I embrace badness.
For sure. I think every time I get bad news, you know, they say bad news comes in threes. Like after the third one, whenever the third one hits, I'm always like, yes. I'm like, yes, I'm through that bit because I know the next news I get is going to be amazing. And usually it is, actually. So I stick with that rule of 3 one, like 3 little bits. Even if it's small little bits of bad news, it could just be small things. I might stub my toe in the kitchen and then there's no milk or there's no toilet paper. And then I'm out of gas in my car. I'm like, all right, that's 3 then. I'm done for the week. Like, that's 3 in a row. I've counted 3. The next one better be good.
And then my phone will ring. By karma.
My phone will ring. My manager will say, oh yeah, we got XYZ show for the summer. I'm like, yes.
Yeah,
so,
good.
Perfect.
Which leads me to glad. So to end on a high, what makes you glad?
What makes me glad? I don't want to be super soppy and emotional, but what makes me glad is
you can be super soppy.
All right, perfect. Then honestly, what makes me glad is like I'm not super religious, but I do like waking up and feeling like I have another day like at my disposal. You know, like that's a lot of people in the world aren't waking up or going to sleep knowing that they're gonna wake up tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? So for me, waking up and being like, wow, I'm in a house that I purchased myself. I don't owe anyone any money. I'm very, very grateful just for another day. Each day I'm grateful. But also little things like all my friends are healthy, happy, safe. When I speak to them and when I call my brethren that I grew up with and we've been like through hard times, been nicked together, like lost people together, you know, and I speak to them and they're like, I'm like, what are you doing today? And one of the men will say, I'm grabbing a coffee and I got a meeting. To me, that's like fills my heart. Like I'm so happy. Like
I just got goosebumps.
Yeah, no, genuinely, but like it makes me so warm and happy. Like okay, I can enjoy my day because all my friends are safe. They're all like making money, doing well. Thank God, yeah, happy. Literally.
I'm so happy for you. And also, I'm really proud of your mum and you for being the people you are, to know that sort of gratitude and to like be doing.
Appreciate that, thank you.
I'm behind you. I love it. Thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah, of course, thanks for having me.
Thank you so much, AJ.
I appreciate you. Thanks for having me. It was a pleasure.
Important
Great
person.
talk. I appreciate that.
Good chat.
And please have
Never
me back
boring,
soon.
especially with ADHD people. Thank you.
See you later.
Bye. I love him. I just love him.